So I saw this tweet from Clutch Points that in a way made me sad. I know everybody is going to be like, well, Coop, these guys are millionaires, but still, seeing this tweet made me feel some type of way. I guess the tweet makes it more apparent that some eras that I grew incredibly fond of in the NBA may be coming to an end. Basically, the tweet showcased on your screen asked if this lineup could make the play-in tournament. As of September 3rd, this lineup only featured players who were still available in free agency. I say as of September 3rd because as we all know, Trez recently signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm actually thinking of making a video on this because of the pure irony of the entire situation. Shout out to Trez though, and Philly. I think that they're a great match. Anyways, when I saw this tweet, I was kind of sad for one, but I also turned my head. Because let's be real, this team isn't making the play-in tournament. You know what? In the comments below, let me know how many games you think that this team wins, period. I'm really not trying to hate, but a team of role players at best only gets you so far in the NBA. We all know that I've got a lot of love for the OGs and the guys who helped to elevate my love for the game of basketball. Personally, I view Blake Griffin as one of my OGs. The dunks, the highlights, the touch, and of course, let's not forget the skill. Blake is a special player. People really tend to forget this, but Blake Griffin was much more than just his mind-numbing dunks at his peak. His dunks were so graceful, powerful, and impactful though, that I do understand how you could get lost in all of that and forget how skillful that he really was. There was a reason that people were deleting their social media accounts after getting dunked on by Blake Griffin. And by people, I mean Kendrick Perkins. Blake dunked on Big Perk so bad that he actually deleted his Twitter. You know that you absolutely destroyed somebody when their Twitter is just not there the next day.
Anything. They're really letting them play. It's a physical game. Oh, man!
As I've said before, the dunks are great, but the polish was undeniable. And all of this was on full display early on in his career. Coming out of college, Blake Griffin was one of the most polished and unique prospects that I'd seen at the time. NBADraft.net called him a freak of nature, an off-the-charts athletic specimen, the perfect storm of strength, athleticism, and work ethic, a special talent that was given to a special kid. I'm going to cut the scouting report short and just say that they were in love with him, and how could they not be? In 2009, Blake Griffin would be drafted to the Clippers #1 overall, in what was a stacked draft. This draft included stars like Steph Curry, James Harden, and DeMar DeRozan. The list of talent goes on. Unfortunately, after being drafted, Blake would miss what was supposed to be his rookie year in 2009 with a knee injury. But fortunately, the following year, he would return and take the league by storm, having one of the greatest rookie seasons in recent memory. He was so good that he'd actually make his first All-Star appearance that same year, averaging 22.5 points, 12 boards, and 4 assists. Revisiting this and going through some old highlights, his rookie season was actually better than I remembered. Guys, recency bias is so real. Anyways, he'd become the first rookie to play in the All-Star game since Yao Ming. If you guys want a Yao Ming video on this channel, just let me know. You know that I have a lot of love for my Houston Rockets. To get back to Blake, despite him being this good, it was clear that the Clippers needed much more. And this is where Chris Paul would come in. As a die-hard New Orleans Hornets fan, the Clippers trading for Chris broke my heart. I followed this guy back at Wake Forest. He was my favorite player that got drafted to my favorite team. What are the chances of that happening? Forget my feelings though, because for the Clippers, CP3, Blake, and the gang helped to change the direction and the way that the Clippers were viewed. The Lob City bandwagon reached a point where it was out of control. I'm sure there are a few Lob City bandwagoners that are tuned into this video right now. I'll never forget the video of Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan reacting to the CP3 trade.
Yeah! Are you serious? That'd be Lob City. Oh my gosh. For who? Hey, who did they give up again? We don't care. Yeah, hey, who make this trade?
Lob City was serious, and those rosters were more than just Lob City. Unfortunately, though, its pinnacle would be just modest playoff runs, but I mean, man, they were exciting. You could blame their downfall on whatever you want, coaching, performances, injuries, whatever you want to pick. It all played a part. When Lob City would run out of steam, Blake Griffin would be dealt to the Detroit Pistons in a deal that shocked everybody, including Blake Griffin. Blake actually signed a massive contract and was told that he'd be a Clipper for life months before he was traded. To me, this was one of the dirtiest moves in NBA history. But at least my guy did secure the bag. This is a good time to bring up that he actually had to give $13.3 million of that bag back to get out of his contract when he was with Detroit. Blake's Pistons era was weird. He willed them to the playoffs and played injured while showing solid all-around development, upping his three-point percentage to 36% before the injuries would just prove to be too much. In my opinion, he should have never played through injury in Detroit. But it was clear that he had something to prove, not just to the Clippers, but to everybody, or maybe more so to himself. It was around this time for me that it felt like one of the NBA's biggest stars was starting to become forgotten about. I mean, at one point, there was a statistic about Blake Griffin going this absurd amount of days without a dunk. After Blake Griffin signed with the Nets, he dunked in his debut, but that didn't make him feel any better about this statistic. To quote Blake, everyone's like, he hasn't dunked in over a year. I'm like, I haven't played in over a year, but I played those 19 games with the Pistons and didn't dunk. That just made me mad because you guys know the stat. You're just choosing to be like, let's do days instead of games. I talked about Blake's Pistons era being a bit weird to me, but the Nets one was even weirder in my opinion, because his first season in Brooklyn, he averaged 10 points and 5 boards on good efficiency. He even shot the 3-ball at 38%, which was huge for the prospects of continuing his career. Blake was no longer the star that everybody had grew to love, but he was still a very quality role player. Blake was hustling on defense, he was drawing charges, he was doing all of the little things for Brooklyn that they needed in order to win a championship. Now, as we all know, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden wouldn't go on to win a championship together, but that wouldn't be on Blake. When the Nets were so close to beating the Bucks, but KD's foot was on the line, Blake played 40 minutes that game. In a pivotal Game 7, he would drop 17 points and 11 rebounds. He was also one of the main defenders on Giannis throughout that series. Despite the numbers, I thought that he gave his all defending Giannis and defended him pretty well. All things considered anyways, I mean, this was a team that had a chance to win. This was a former star who was willing to leave it all on the floor. Fast forward to this past season, and early on, Blake would unfortunately just look like a different player. Struggling early on, he would miss a lot of easy looks, and his shooting, which would be pivotal at this point of his career, would fall off of a cliff. This, along with a multitude of things, would lead to Blake being in and out of the Nets rotation. Bear in mind that the Nets rotation this past season needed help in any way possible. With that being said, I was completely shocked to find Blake out of the lineup at one point. Against the Celtics, he had good moments for a Nets team that just wasn't showing enough fight. Yeah, Ime Udoka openly admitted that they tried to attack Blake on the defensive side of the basketball, and he looked gassed at times, but all things considered, it's not like the Nets really had a plethora of better options off the bench, at least in my opinion. And to be fair, Jaylen Brown was really just hitting some tough shots. Now, when it comes to Blake, though I'm a big fan, I really want to be real. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's some uber high-level role player at this stage of his career, especially when his shot isn't falling. But I will tell you that I do think that with his IQ and feel for the game, that he's good enough to be on a roster and at least getting steady rotation minutes if he's healthy and his body holds up. Do I think that Blake still has the potential to be a good role player? Yes. This is Blake freaking Griffin that we're talking about. This is somebody that was literally leading the league in charges drawn per 36 minutes last season. I know what you guys are thinking, but look, I just really rock with Blake Griffin. I know that we all have players that we're somewhat irrational about. Leave yours down in the comments below. But anyways, in this case, I don't really feel like I'm being irrational. Though if I am wilding. You can let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, when it comes to Blake Griffin, who really knows what's next? There were rumors earlier this offseason that Blake going to the Clippers or the Lakers was a possibility. I mean, earlier this offseason, he did like a tweet about joining Kawhi and PG in LA. I'm just saying, whatever happens next for Blake, I'm rooting for him. I just hope that he gets his wish of hooping again, even if his days as a rotation player are done. You can't tell me that Blake wouldn't be a super chill vet presence in the locker room. Let me know what you guys think of everything down in the comments below, and also, who is the biggest surprise free agent at this moment in time? Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GETLIKECOOP, bringing you guys the scoop. Until our next upload.